The lenses right here. I'm Dave, and there's Tom. And here, play.
Welcome to Retired Time Productions.
Okay, this is for my buddy Uncle Deke, and he wanted to know why I use the Nexus 7 with the Mavic Pro, and so I'm going to show why I use the Nexus 7. So here's my Mavic Pro right here, and the controller, and the Nexus 7 2013 model tablet. Now, the way you can tell the 2013 model, the easiest two ways to tell are, number one, it has the camera on the back here, right there, whereas the previous ones like 2012 did not have the camera. It also has the Nexus logo right here going horizontal across the back instead of being like this direction. And those are the two main things, just for ease of recognition if you're looking for one. And you do have to go secondhand because they're not making these anymore. So why would I want to use one? So the eighth reason I like the Nexus 7 is it has a quad-core processor. So this thing is fast. It can handle the video. Any video streaming in from the Mavic in high definition, either 1080p or 720p, this is able to process it and get it up on the screen without much delay. So the seventh reason I like the Nexus 7 is it has 32 gig of memory. So this has internal 32 gig of memory. Now it doesn't have an SD card slot. A lot of tablets don't. But this, you can download the files off it over the USB. The sixth reason I like the Nexus 7 is it's got 1920 by 1200 on the pixel resolution, so it's easily able to handle the video. If you have 1080p or 720p, it looks sharp. And the fifth reason I like the Nexus 7 is it has 4G, so you can get a data plan like from Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all of those places can handle this as a data plan. So you can get a good data plan with it. And you can download your maps, see your maps on the screen when you're flying, see where you are. It has a GPS built in. Now the fourth reason I like the Nexus 7 is if you go and look at some of these notebooks like the iPads and stuff, you can't get them open to even get at the battery. This one you can actually pop the cover off and replace the battery. You can change the battery. The batteries are available on Amazon, and the battery life is great. I don't know if that might be another reason, but the battery life is great. It has a 300 or 3,950 milliamp hour battery, almost 4,000 milliamp hours. So this thing will last a long time. In fact, I've seen one video where they were comparing it to the iPad. The iPad, which it's hard to get to the battery. I don't even know if you can. It's sealed in there. But the iPads, when it was cold, they would go dead pretty rapidly. I mean, in cold weather, the iPad battery would fade out real quick and go dead, and the Nexus would just keep on going. The third reason I like the Nexus 7 is where the ports are positioned and the buttons. So the button is right here, so it's easy to touch the button. I just put my finger right in that hole, hit the button, I can turn the screen on and off. Okay? And also on the back, this port is very easy to get to. Well, it's on the bottom, I guess. I don't know. But it's right there. It's not in the way of anything. And you can take your little cable like that, plug it in there, and then it's easy to plug right in the bottom here on the controller. Right like that. So very easy to plug in, and a good tip is always plug in your tablet last. Go ahead and connect to your Mavic first. Have the Mavic and the controller running and connected. Turn on the tablet and then plug in the cable, and the DJI Go 4 app will come up automatically and everything will just work. If you try to plug in the tablet first before turning on everything else, sometimes it just won't connect. But yeah, you go in that sequence and it works every time. The number two reason I like the Nexus 7 is it has a pretty good brightness on the screen. In fact, I think it might be one of the brightest screens available. And let me get out of this because that's kind of not fair. But if I take the lamp right up on it like that, like in bright sunlight, you can still see the screen. Even without a sunshade, you can see the screen. This thing's bright. I saw one video where they put it up against an iPad mini, and this thing was brighter than the iPad mini. So it really does put out as far as brightness goes. And finally, the number one reason I like the Nexus 7 2013 model is it just fits into the Mavic controller perfectly. It's about the biggest tablet that will go into the controller and fit all the way in. So you just make sure that when you put it in, that it goes into these little holes right here on the side. See how the corner pokes through those holes? If you poke the corner through those holes, and it does fit well in these clamps right here, it's not going to fall out. It's really in there good. But if you poke it into those holes, it'll go all the way up and contact the controller at the bottom right there. So it's a really good fit. And if you have trouble fitting a tablet, and this is just a little tip, you can shave off a little bit of the plastic right here where this clamp arm hits against the case, right in this area. And the plastic is really soft. You can just take a X-Acto blade like this, just go in there and carve out just a sliver of plastic, and not very much, and then that'll open up wider. But I still think the Nexus 7 is about the biggest one you're going to get in there, 7-inch. Like that. I don't know about iPads that much. I think the iPad Mini 4 fits in it. But don't quote me on that. I would do your research on that if you're an Apple user. Okay. Okay, so that's about all I got. I just wanted to show you why I like the Nexus 7. And hope that was useful. And I hope Uncle Deke got something out of that. He's trying to decide between a Nexus 7 and an iPad, so I don't know what he'll do. I guess I'll find out later. But that's my information on it. Thanks for watching.
Here, play.